Hey, what up? It's the Man Fuse Podcast. I am Kay Lee, audio producer, voice artist. My co-host, real estate entrepreneur, Ben H.
Good afternoon.
We ride together, we die together.
Yes.
So today on the Man Fuse Podcast, we're going to try to help out fellow podcasters in an effort to help educate and keep some of you from making the same mistakes that we just made. We're going to get into what does it take to get credit for a download, and how is your podcast host determining that factor. We're going to detail for you the rise and fall of the Man Fuse Podcast and how we are going to rise again. When you start a podcast, you're starting at zero.
Yes.
Zero plus the circle of people around you.
Sure.
Of your personal network. And that's no guarantee anybody's going to listen.
Actually, the people who are closest to you are the ones that don't listen.
Exactly. The people that you go, hey, check out this episode, check out what I'm doing. It'd be like handing somebody a CD of their music.
That's right.
99%, and I'm guilty of it too. If you handed me a CD and I didn't know you, would I ever take the time out of my day to pop it in and listen? Probably not.
What if you did know them?
I might still not take the time.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, you know?
It's weird.
It's almost like embarrassing.
And that's the thing. Having a podcast, it's different when have a radio show that's, on the air. People are in their cars driving to work. They're flipping through, even in today's age, because you have so many media sources right at your fingertips. You can choose what the hell you want to watch. You can stream Pandora. It doesn't matter. So getting somebody to take their focus off of what they normally do and listen to something new, unless they're actually looking for something new, it's really hard to get anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. So when it comes to having a podcast, unless you are a famous actor who goes, hey, I'm going to start a podcast.
Right.
And wait, I've got millions of people that watch my movies and my first episode is going to hit 30,000 listens. Because they already have an audience.
Yeah.
Oh, I like him as an actor. I'd listen to a podcast with him interviewing Will Ferrell. Who wouldn't? Unless you have a built-in audience, you're starting at zero. Ben and we started Man Fused in February without a built-in audience.
Yes.
I have had a marketing strategy that I started to implement probably the second month. Anybody that manages their own podcast, small, medium, big, whatever. If you're doing it yourself, there's the recording, there's the editing. Now you've got to have your social media. Okay, how are you going to do it? So I started creating these promo videos. Now, with every episode we released, I would post it on all the social platforms. And then I started tinkering with some Facebook ads for that episode.
Right.
Driving traffic back to our embedded player to play the episode if that person clicked on the link.
Right.
We started with a company called RSS. RSS, now we're novices. We don't know any.
It's a big platform.
It is. And it's very popular.
Yeah.
It's very user-friendly.
Yeah.
The graphics, the display of your data, of your episode, it's very eye-catching.
Yes.
When you look at it, you go, oh, that's nice. The color schemes, all of it. I loved it. I love the way it looks. So RSS, one of the paid hosting providers, because when you start a podcast, now you have to host it somewhere.
That's right.
Somewhere that will distribute it to all the podcast platforms available. Without a built-in audience, depending on your social media, how engagement, growth is slow. And so to give you an idea, our numbers starting at zero without a built-in audience, in February, we had 57 downloads.
Not a lot.
No, but actually 57 downloads for 2 weeks in February compared to some is not that bad.
No.
It doesn't take much in the podcast world for you to get yourself into the top 10%.
Right.
Our March numbers were 223 downloads for the month. If you can get 200 downloads, you're in like the top 10%. Now, the difference between the 10% and the top 1% is huge. The difference between the 5% and the 1% is enormous.
Right.
You're talking Joe Rogan at the 1%. You're way far back from him still at 5%. They're huge margins at that point. So we keep plowing. In April, We hit 10 more downloads. We hit 233 in April.
Yeah.
Not that big. In May, our efforts started looking a little better. We had 389.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't know anything more than what RSS's analytics, which analytics on any hosting platform look pretty much identical.
Right.
What you're going to see in analytics, you're going to see downloads per day. You're going to probably see downloads per month. You might have an all-time downloads number, and you will be able to see geographically where these downloads are coming from, what they're using. So meaning, are they doing it on their mobile? Are they doing it on their computer? What apps are they using?
Yeah.
Is it coming through Apple? Is it coming through Chrome? Is it coming through Android?
That's right.
Spotify, you name it. So you get these charts and bar graphs and whatever, and you can kind of see, okay, well, this is where these people are coming from.
Right.
And this is how many downloads you got. Why wouldn't we believe what they're saying? These are our analytics. Now, here's the thing. When we approach June, we go from 389 downloads to 5,261.
Yep.
We're blown the fuck away.
It was
We're like,
awesome.
What? This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm like, okay, well, my marketing strategy is obviously working.
That's right.
We're crushing it. Like, holy shit, we just went right there into the top 5%.
That's right.
5,200 downloads in a month. Most podcasters will never see that number.
That's right.
I've seen people posting their achievements who have been doing a podcast for 3 years and they just hit their 1,000th download.
Yep.
And you know what? Those people should be proud.
That's right.
Because the simple fact is, you're not going to make much money, if any at all, with 1,000 downloads.
Right.
Your love of the art form,
Mm-hmm.
your love of podcasting, and basically having a show and producing content,
Right.
you are unwavering. You're amazing because most podcasts won't make it past the 20th episode, even the 10th episode.
That's right.
Because after people realize, okay, what this takes, and to see your numbers, while you might not be doing it to make money, you're going to look at your numbers, and if you don't see them grow, like, okay, I got 20 downloads, 20 people listen. They said it was a good podcast. Great.
Right.
But if you're not making money, then the downloads is your payment. The people listening, if that's not growing, it can be like going out for an audition and just getting rejected
That's right.
over and over and over. And then you start to think to yourself, I'm doing all this work. It ends up taking a back seat.
Right.
For most. So someone who's been doing this for 2 or 3 years and they just hit their 1,000th download, they are unwavering in their commitment.
Yes.
And I commend you. That
Absolutely.
is awesome. You have staying power. And hopefully your numbers will grow. We've only been doing this since February. We try to make sense of it. Now in July, we dipped down a little bit. We hit 4,060 downloads.
That's right.
Okay? And this is where the boom comes. The boom. In August, around mid-month,
Right.
we were getting close to about 1,000 downloads a day.
Yep.
When all of a sudden, we went from 1,000 downloads a day to hitting 5, 6, 7,000 downloads, up to 9,000 downloads a day. We
Yes.
never, our goal was 7 at one point, kept missing it. And then our goal was 10, and we never hit that point.
Right.
We got 9,800 in one day.
Yeah.
9,800 downloads.
Right.
We closed out in August at 106,000 downloads. in a
Big
day.
month.
Huge month. Then September came. We are pumped. We're so addicted at this point. Ben, you can attest. In the beginning, I looked at the numbers once a week.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh, we have a few more. I check them every now and then.
Right.
At this point, I'm staring. I've figured out when those numbers update on the hour.
That's
to
right.
the minute.
Yes.
At the 6th minute of every hour,
Right.
those numbers would refresh.
Absolutely.
And new numbers would be there. And in September, mid-month, by the 13th,
Yeah.
we were already at 153,000 downloads, projected to hit 250
Yeah.
for the month of September. To say we were ecstatic
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we couldn't put words to it. It was like a dopamine hit every single time we refreshed.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a 30-day average of 250,000 downloads.
Unbelievable. I'm like, holy smokes. I can see on RSS's analytics, I can see the geographic, I can see these red dots coming up on the map. It looked like COVID spreading across the globe.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
If you looked at a map and all the red dots represented a disease, but in this case, they represented our audience.
That's right.
So, at this point, when you hit to that level of downloads,
Yeah.
you are in the rare capability of monetizing. And what that means is now you can start making money. And the simple fact that we started in February, here we are in September, and we could start monetizing at a level that could be decently significant. But also, if you think about the amount of downloads, you have the ability to spread 1 million downloads.
That's right.
I mean, I never thought we'd be where we were.
Right.
1 million downloads, well, shit, we could do that in 6-8 months.
Yeah.
So I'm talking not 1 million downloads all time. I'm talking about 1 million downloads in a month.
That's right.
Now you have that multiplying factor.
Yep.
You know, if 10,000 out of your 100 or 250,000 like what you're doing and share it with somebody, how can you grow exponentially
Right.
from that moment?
That's right.
So the Man Fused podcast, we met, we talked about it, we decided we were going to get picked up by a podcast platform,
That's right.
a boutique, I'm going to say, podcast platform that brings you on your podcast onto their network,
Yep.
and they help market, they help you grow. They also handle all your ad insertions.
Yes.
So in podcasting, once you get to this certain level, you have the ability to start dropping in ads. That could be pre-roll ads, ads that play before the podcast starts, mid-roll ads, ads that'll start in the middle of the podcast, go into 2 minutes of commercials, and then come back to the rest of the episode. And then post-roll. So you start being able to drop in ads in all these places, in all your back catalogs,
Yep.
mixed with something called host reads, which are, Ben, pick up that script and mix in a little,
Something like this.
can you do the blended version of a host read?
Of course.
Thank you.
I lied on my back, the grass soft beneath my skin, as he pushed himself deep with the perfected effortlessness. I instantly started moaning. If you're writing porn novels, you might want to look us up. So, Kay Lee, have you ever been in a car accident before?
Why, yes, Ben, I have.
Me too. Don't wish it on my worst enemies. It can be a terrible experience. What's the first thing you did?
So that would be a host read.
Yeah, it
Go
would.
to mighty.com. We like mighty.com if you get into a car accident.
That's right.
Those reads pay a lot of money, especially if you've got the downloads and your listener base to listen to.
Yep.
We got courted by a company. We were able to show them all of our RSS data. I mean, everything. We
Yep.
could download the CSV files. I took screenshots of the maps, because what happens is we signed a contract. Contracts were drafted by an attorney. We couldn't believe it. We're 99.9% of podcasters will not get to.
That's right.
We're not bragging here.
No.
This isn't ooh, look at us. This is actually a education and wake-up call that, unfortunately, we're now going through.
Yes.
So when you transfer your podcast to a different host, you have to do what's called a 301 direct. Now, for someone to try to understand what that is, let's say you bought a new house. Now you're going to direct all your mail that came to your old house to that new address. Same thing. Any listener that comes to manfuse.com, any listener that goes to Apple, all of our mail, all of our listeners, all of our subscribers, all of our downloads
Right.
will now be forwarded to this new address, and they will start to accumulate their mail
That's right.
or their data on this new platform. So that is called onboarding in podcast terms. So this is what we did. We started to onboard. Now, we're elated. How are you feeling at this point, Ben? Dude, we've got so many plans in the work.
I mean, I was really excited. I was a little cautious and nervous about the whole thing because I was having so much fun with what we were doing. It was the right time to make the move from the downloads perspective and just coming on board with a company that could provide us with, support to help us build. And yet at the same time, it was very nervous because it was like, I don't know. Anytime you switch, you risk losing momentum. But yeah, I was very excited.
Now, the thing to consider here is you're really not losing anything. We have all the records of our data on RSS. Now, that data and those numbers aren't going to instantly just pop up on the new platform. They're going to have to build and grow there. All right, Ben, it's okay. It's not going to show 233,000 downloads on when you log in and look at it.
Right.
But at this rate, it'll take us no time to get back there.
That's right.
8,000, 5,000 downloads a day?
Sure.
Oh, man, we're going to see the numbers start stacking.
That's right.
Now, when you do a 301 Direct, they tell you that it could take 2 to 3 days for all of these different podcast platforms to start reporting to the new address, just like anything else. So, to not be alarmed when the numbers filter in at different times.
Right.
Well, 2, 3 days go by. 4 days goes by, and the numbers are not showing up. Some numbers are.
Right.
But not 5,000 downloads a day.
No.
Not 1,000 downloads a day.
Right.
So I start to panic. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What is the difference on this new platform from our old platform?
Right.
I have proof of our receipts.
That's right.
From RSS. Every screenshot of every page of analytics they offer. But it's not coming through. So what's wrong? Something's wrong. By God, man. No!
Yeah.
Where did everyone go?
Yeah.
Now, the whole thing with doing a 301 Direct, your listeners will never know that anything's changed.
That's right.
It has no disruption in anybody's listening capabilities, in anybody's on any player. All it is, it's just redirecting all the stats and the data to a new address.
That's right.
So it's all on the back end. Well, after about 2 weeks, let's just say that our numbers were 80% gone. So in September, where we were estimated to clock out at about 250,000 downloads, while we still have record of 20 days under the RSS hosting platform, which shows what? Last 30 days, 235,000 downloads?
That's right.
Our new platform is showing about, I don't know, 7%, roughly, which led me to investigate what the fuck is going on. And I explain this because I don't want this to happen to you. I've been doing some due diligence. I've been consulting with the company that has now signed a contract with us based on the numbers we provided.
That's right.
These numbers here are going to be these numbers and growing over here, but they're not. They have yet to come in. So the digging started. What qualifies as a download? Here's the thing. The company that we're with now goes by an industry standard, a podcast measurement, because it's called the IAB V2, and it's an industry standard that all top podcast hosting platforms use to set a standard of what is what.
Right.
What is a download? To the IAB standard, now you might think, well, that's kind of crazy. That's it? For a download from your website, somebody has to listen for at least 1 minute.
That's right.
That qualifies as a download. Now, without getting into all the back-end things, the way that this data is collected is from logs that ping on these servers from IP addresses.
That's
and
right.
They have measures to keep you from going, okay, play for a minute, stop it, then you hit play again. That's 2 downloads. No, it doesn't. It records your IP address and it records for that particular episode, and you get credit as a download if 1 minute is consumed.
That's right.
Now, Apple, Spotify, and all these other platforms where most podcasts are listened to already has all the demographics. You've already given them all your information. And when you go on to Apple, they can actually look at every minute of every episode that is listened to and consumed.
Right.
You get really good data from there that you don't get if you're listening to, let's say, through Chrome.
Yeah.
RSS, and I have not confirmed, I don't believe from the evidence that we've seen goes by the IAB v2 standard, which means through the ads that I was posting on Facebook, trying to get people to go to our website, listen to the episode. On our website, after further looking into this, trying to make sense of this utter nightmare, this roller coaster of a couple months, on our website, we have an average session time of 3 seconds.
That's right.
So while a particular Facebook ad that I took out might have 50,000 clicks to our website to listen to an episode.
Which were counted as downloads. Right.
Not all of them. Most of them. To get us to those numbers, we're not even on our website for 3 seconds.
Right.
This is all new to me. Some people who have been in this podcasting, well, dumbass, why didn't you, when you're getting all these down, why didn't you go look at your website, data to confirm and check with RSS's analytics?
Right.
I don't fucking know. Oh, this is all new to me. I've only been doing this since February. And I'm relying on my podcast host.
That's right.
Who is popular, well-known, has a good reputation for having analytics that match any other podcasting host's analytics.
That's right.
I'm going on the beautiful formatted pages they're feeding me. And I'm going, shit, we have 250,000 downloads.
Yep.
Until we didn't. I have not been able to find on RSS's website that they use this IAB standard for top podcasting hosts. While I did email them trying to get information about what constitutes as a download, and their reply to me made sense of how their analytics come in. But at this point, I knew nothing about IAB standards. If someone clicks on it, your website, and hits play for a half a second, you're getting a download. The problem with this is we're in this to build an engaged audience that will engage with us, that will grow with us, that will weep with us, that will laugh with us.
Absolutely.
A 3-second listener is no listener at all. That doesn't get, how are you, out of my mouth before that time is up.
That's right.
This is the problem. What do we do now? Now that RSS is not hosting our podcast anymore, the reality of the numbers, after investigation, I'll have to say, a little bit of depression. What a bummer. What a high that we were on. This isn't going to change anything for the ManFuse podcast. We are still going to get to where we were. We're still going to execute the plans and all the cool things that we had planned for. It's just not going to happen right now. Unfortunately, we learned the hard way. So the company that we signed with is not dropping us.
No.
We have to build our numbers back. Have we grown? Fuck yeah, we've grown. Our numbers have grown from February, March, April. It's growing fast, but it's not growing from 300 downloads to 5,200, from 5,200 to 106,000 downloads. This is my recommendation to you. Know your podcast host. Fortunately, you and I have vision.
Yes.
We don't need instant gratification. We were never in this for instant gratification.
Right.
We knew that if this was ever going to turn money, it was going to take time.
Sure.
We just had no idea that we would be thrusted. We were featured on RSS's top performing podcasts in their community. We were on the top charts. We were
top 5%.
Top 5%. Now, like as I said earlier, the difference between 5% and 1%, huge.
Yeah. That was considering the numbers that they were counting.
Correct.
That these other platforms don't count. the platform that we moved to.
which holds the IAB V2 top standard of how your numbers should be tallied. Looking at our numbers now, that's sad. Let's go back to RSS. That isn't an engaged audience that your advertisers are going to want to drop ads in.
Right.
Because no one's listening. 3 seconds is nothing. That doesn't even give you the ability to capture them. You need a minute. You need 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. If you are in an elevator with somebody and you've got 30 seconds to make your pitch, and the dude standing next to you is a billionaire.
Right.
You got 30 seconds to build a rapport with this person.
Yeah.
So you can what? Get their business card? Follow up at a later time?
Sure.
30 seconds to make an impression.
Right.
Be like, that dude's cool. That dude's a go-getter. 30 seconds. At least need that. 10
Absolutely.
seconds. 20 seconds. 3 seconds gets you a nod in the elevator. Hey, bing. Doors open. Gone forever. Can't do anything with 3 seconds unless you just kick the dude in the balls or something.
That's right.
Or get on your knees and just start undoing a zipper, but the door's open.
Yeah.
And everyone's staring at you about to blow this dude.
Yeah. Probably not a good look.
Probably not a good look. Not where you want to go. But you can't capture anybody's attention with 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Am I shitting on RSS? No, I'm not. But I think anybody out there who's building a podcast, working at this thing, needs to know the difference between IABV2 standards, and I'm going to post it on our episode. Is the host that is hosting your podcast using these standards to gather their analytics?
Right.
Now, if you get 50 downloads a month or a week,
We'll still look into it because what you think is 50 downloads might be 2.
if your downloads are coming from Apple, Spotify, those downloads are valid. You can go on to those platforms and log in, and you can see all the analytics. And
I wonder where those listens go that say maybe hit 45 seconds or something like that.
with Spotify and Apple, they can actually see the exact amount of time you spent and what you consumed out of that episode if you press play.
Mm-hmm.
Apple's going to meet those standards. That'll be a download.
Yeah.
I don't think 45 seconds is going to accumulate to your overall listening time.
Yeah.
Like if you have 45,000 minutes listened in total, because that's a stat you get through Apple or
Right.
Spotify. You can not only see per episode, but it gives you the all-time listening for every episode you've put out.
Right.
And it could be 45,000 hours. It could be 2 hours. It could be 10 minutes. I don't think your 45 seconds is going to qualify onto that. You probably got to do at least a minute in order to bring up that download number. The point is, you need to know your platform.
I wonder how many full episode listens we have.
Through Apple, Spotify, or
Just
whatever.
all together.
You'd have to go onto each individual platform. And I know on most of our episodes, in looking at these platforms,
Yeah.
not using RSS, looking at the data that I now can rely on, if we put out an episode, 70, 80% of that episode is consumed. The thing with podcasting, as we said earlier, you're getting people to choose to spend their time with you.
Right.
Stop what they're doing, get out of the habit that they were doing, whatever they were listening to, if they were listening to anything at all, and have you on in the background, have you on in the car, actively listen to you. That is how you build an audience. Those are the listeners you want. Those are what your advertisers want to see, is that you have that audience.
Yep.
That's where the money is. That's where the engagement, the fans, the listeners, and it's not about just our ego. It's just about, okay, we want people to join the show. We want to include you. But if your listener base is based on 3 seconds of downloads,
Yeah.
those people are not calling into your show.
No.
They're not actively engaged in anything you do. They're just a number on the screen that's false.
Right.
It's illegitimate. I'm kind of grateful it happened. We did get signed. We are with a podcasting company that is going in spite of something that we knew nothing about. We didn't have any hand in this. How would we know? Mm-hmm. We're 4 months into this thing. We're no expert. We're still learning as we go. They're still wanting to move forward with us.
Right.
Because they feel that we have something, as most people who have taken more than a minute to listen to our podcast, there's something special here.
Sure.
And that's why we're moving forward. I guess the point at the end of the day is don't believe shit on the internet, because this right here, as great of a high it was, it kind of a huge blow at the same time.
Yes, definitely.
It would have been different if we wouldn't have signed papers,
Right.
spent $700 to incorporate,
Yes.
man fused, because there were things that we needed to do, and legally we wanted to provide protection.
Right.
This is now becoming a business.
Right.
IRS, the loss is real.
We'll take it. If you're out there doing a podcast, understand your metrics. Don't just look at a download and assume that that's someone, listening fully. It could be as simple as a click on your website. And, I would just say know your numbers. I mean, before we didn't really know what defined a download. Now we know that a download is defined by 1 minute or more of listening. Also be interesting to know how many people listen for 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Likewise, how many people listen for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. That's an incredible amount of tracking which has to occur in order to determine those types of things. I mean, you can imagine the amount of data that would have to be collected to be able to break those things down for somebody. But I think it's valid because ultimately, if you're doing this, you need to understand what your numbers are, the numbers that count.
Thank you for those that are listening, and we're growing. We're still growing, not quite to the extent of what we thought. Please join the show. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get all your podcasts. You can join the show by texting or leaving us a voice message at 770-744-5227 or hit us up at manfuse.com.
Listen for more than a minute.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Listen for more than a minute, and I guarantee we'll make our way into your heart.
That's right.
Later.